El Salvador made headlines last September as the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as an official currency. And today, more than 8 months after this decision, we can say that the ambitious Bitcoin plan in El Salvador, either as a local currency or as a sovereign investment, is one of the worst investment plans ever. The subject of Bitcoin in El Salvador is extremely random and strange. Perhaps the proof of this is the fact that the president of El Salvador buys Bitcoins from his personal phone using the money of the people who are among the poorest in the Western Hemisphere. What is happening in El Salvador, and what is their story with Bitcoin? And why did the government adopt cryptocurrency as an official currency? How did the country lose half of the money it invested in Bitcoin? And why did their plan to adopt Bitcoin as an official currency become an example of failure? More importantly, how can El Salvador's loss threaten its ability to repay its debts? On June 6, 2021, the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, wrote on his Twitter account that if 1% of the market value of Bitcoin is invested, it will increase the GDP by 25%. And 3 days after this tweet, he sent a bill to Parliament to adopt Bitcoin as the country's official currency. On the same day, in the Parliament of El Salvador, the majority of which comes from the president's political party, approved this law. And 3 months after the law was passed, it became active in September 2021, and Bitcoin started to be used as an official currency. This decision was attacked by various economic organizations in the world, perhaps the most prominent of which is the International Monetary Fund. So what prompted El Salvador to take this step? El Salvador's economy relies heavily on remittances from workers abroad. In 2020, remittance from residents abroad accounted for 24% of GDP, but 20% of these transfers are lost as transfer fees. Therefore, the government chose to adopt Bitcoin for these transfers because their cost is cheaper. The second reason for this decision is that the government wants to enhance financial inclusion in the country. 70% of the population of El Salvador does not have a bank account, yet more than half own a smartphone, which enable them to keep their digital wallets on their phones. After putting the government's Bitcoin trading app to work, it has been downloaded by 4 million out of 6.5 million Salvadorans. This suggests that the people responded to the government's decisions, but the Bitcoin turnover was saying the exact opposite. The vast majority are still made in dollars. Last January, the Chamber of Industry and Commerce of El Salvador conducted an opinion poll. Small and medium-sized companies were asked about the size of their transactions in Bitcoin. The result was that 86% of these companies had never exchanged Bitcoins. As for the companies that received Bitcoin in exchange for their products, they immediately converted it into dollars. The reason why the number of application downloads does not correspond to the number of transactions is that the government gives approximately $30 as a gift to those who download the app. Everyone withdrew the gift and then deleted the app. And the reason was that the people were afraid of the fluctuations in the value of Bitcoin. Despite the people's reluctance to adopt Bitcoin, the Salvadoran president has spent more than $100 million of government money on Bitcoin. In total, Nayib Bukele purchased 2,301 Bitcoins worth $103 million. Its value on the day we filmed the episode is now $54.57 million. One Bitcoin is equal to $23,718. So far, El Salvador has lost $48,430,000 from this investment. This is a loss of more than 50% in less than a year. In order for El Salvador to get back the money it spent on digital currency, the price of Bitcoin must reach $45,000. In this case, the country's investments will reach the break-even point, with neither profits nor losses. So what is the problem if Bitcoin does not recover its value? And what is the problem if El Salvador lost the $103 million in addition to the $200 million spent on the application? In fact, the loss of money itself is not the problem. The problem is the consequences of this loss. The whole world is following the Salvadoran government, and its random experiment with Bitcoin did not impress anyone, and it became a reason for investors' weak confidence in the Salvadoran economy. Last January, the International Monetary Fund demanded that the Salvadoran government reverse its plan to invest in Bitcoin because it threatens the foundations of the economy in the country and poses a threat to the stability of the financial system. But what is the income of the International Monetary Fund in the decisions of El Salvador? For months, El Salvador has been in negotiations with the International Monetary Fund to borrow $1.3 billion in order to repay its debts, especially the next big batch of $800 million. But the International Monetary Fund will not land a single dollar if it does not retreat from its random behavior. Carlos Acevedo, the former central governor of the Central Bank of El Salvador, wrote an article for El Faro newspaper saying that El Salvador's bet on Bitcoin is like a game of roulette in Las Vegas. This was, in short, the story of El Salvador with Bitcoin. And as always, I have a question for you. If you were the president of El Salvador, would you continue with the policy of adopting Bitcoin as an official currency? I will follow all your answers in the comments. And in the end, if you liked the episode, subscribe to the channel and wait for us in future episodes.